Who's winning the Ukraine war between Russia and NATO? Not Ukraine if you ask the Russia president, or Russia if you ask the NATO countries. Day for day, it has been more than 1 year that this war has been going on. Yet, we still don't have the winner. If you listen to the Russia president, will tell you that they are doing good and the Ukraine is being defeated.
Their losses are approaching a level that could be described as catastrophic. If we take irretrievable losses, it is clear that the defending side suffers fewer losses, but still this ratio of 1 to 10, as they say, is in our favor. We have 10 times less than the losses of the armed forces of Ukraine.
Putin was addressing the media on Tuesday. He says that Russia had lost 10 times less than Ukraine. But at the same time, he did acknowledge that Russia had lost some of his military bases, which is different with NATO and Ukraine because them they don't acknowledge at all. So Putin says Ukraine have lost about 500 vehicles. About quarter of these vehicles belongs to the Western. I'm referring to NATO, of course. On the other side, Russia had only lost about 55 vehicles, and some of them Putin says that they can be repairable. Well, that is a report from the Russia Federation, but this is not something that the Western will have to agree. Obviously, we know that they will dispute this because they want to come out as the winners.
Thanks to everyone who is fighting, who protects and advances our positions. For example, the Bakhmut sector. It is, in particular, the soldiers of the 80th Separate Brigade of the Ukrainian Air Assault Forces. There is forward movement in various areas. I thank you. Thank you for your extraordinary bravery.
That was Zelensky. As I just said, they'll come to their defense to defend themselves and dispute on what Russia had said. That was Zelensky last Tuesday. At the same time, the Secretary General of the NATO country was in the US.
And the support that we are providing together to Ukraine is now making a difference on the battlefield as we speak. Because the offensive is launched and the Ukrainians are making progress, making advances. It's still early days, but what we do know is that the more land the Ukrainians are able to liberate, the stronger hand they will have at the negotiating table.
He said that the weapon that NATO had provided to Ukraine, it is making a very big difference in the field. That is not even what we see with Russia president saying. Because according to the Russia, they only acknowledge that they had lost 10 times less than what Ukraine have lost. So, where's this difference that the NATO Secretary General is trying to tell people out there? Again, as I said, this is another way of them trying to defend themselves, as much Russia is trying also to defend himself. According to President Putin, he said that the war will stop and Russia will begin its peaceful negotiation if the Western, which is the NATO, stop providing weapons to the Ukraine. In other words, Russia is trying to remind the world that the same reason that motivated them to invade Ukraine is the same thing that NATO is doing right now by supplying weapons to the Ukraine. Now tell me something for yourself. How will Russia stop this war if NATO continue to supply weapons to Ukraine? Because that is what had caused all this drama that we get to see in Ukraine. Unfortunately for Putin, it seems like the West are not ready for that.
Also today, the department announced additional security assistance to meet Ukraine's critical security and defense needs. This is the Biden administration's 40th presidential drawdown of equipment from DoD inventories for Ukraine since August 2021. It includes key capabilities to aid Ukraine's efforts to retake its sovereign territory as they bravely protect Ukraine's soldiers, civilians, and critical infrastructure.
Yes, NATO is not ready to let Ukraine to negotiate with Russia. We saw it in April when China tried to bring the two countries to the table. Russia was ready, so is Ukraine. But just because Ukraine president have become a puppet of Americans, they pull his ears and tell him that to not go and negotiate with Russia, where China played a middle role. So, for those who always watch us, I had asked this question to know, why do they have problem of China playing the middle role? Because it can't only be them who are the right people to play the middle role in everything around the world. So guys, US is not ready to let Ukraine negotiate with Russia. I'll tell you in a little bit why they don't want to let Ukraine to negotiate with Russia so that this so-called war can finish once for all. For them, they believe Ukraine needed to liberate more lands from the Russia, which Russia had possessed so far. But the problem here is that the more they try to liberate this land in the hand of Russia, the more people get killed. Because Russia is not willing also to let go of this land when NATO have not stopped supplying weapons to the Ukraine government. Yes, the US is giving Ukraine another aid package. For what? For them to go and fight. While Russia is asking for them to stop supplying Ukraine in order for him also to stop fighting in Ukraine. Them they keep on supplying. These are the people who pretend to bring peace. And this is the best way that they had found in order for them to bring peace in Ukraine. And this aid package that the US had delivered to the Ukraine government to fight Russia, it is net worth of 320 millions. 320 millions of US dollar. Now you need to ask yourself this question to know, do you think the US is spending this money for no reasons? If they don't have nothing that they'll have to benefit from all this. Supplying weapons to Ukraine, does it mean that now things are getting even more poorly? Because when they first started, they were supplying Ukraine with everything. So what happened from big numbers to these small numbers? Was Putin really telling the truth? Perhaps Putin was right after all when he says that Ukraine, they have lost a lot of a military vehicle so far than Russia does. Most likely, Ukraine with NATO, they have something that they are hiding and they don't want the world to know about it. But the battlefield will tell us the truth because it's just a matter of time as these things continue like this. We'll get to see. Remember so far, it is Russia versus NATO countries. And it is not one country which you will find in NATO. Instead, we're talking about more than 30 countries that they are putting their money together, they are putting their energy together, they are putting their efforts together in order for them to fight Russia. Russia so far have not been supplied by any country around the world. Now tell me what will happen the time when Russia is aligned. They'll start supplying him also with weapons. Isn't it we're going to experience another third world war? Is that what US want for the world to be tomorrow? The Russia government, they did suggest a solution so far because at the same time, they don't want to take a defeat. But they try to suggest something. And on the other side, we are having NATO countries who are trying to ignore that suggestions and try to provide weapons and try to entertain Zelensky to go and fight Russia, though they know that this man can't face Russia. The Russia foreign minister had to say this because he had to realize that this is no more about Ukraine. This is about NATO country who are trying to bring instability in Ukraine so that they'll take control of Ukraine. And he had to say that NATO countries with the US, that the one who are encouraging the killing of innocent people in Ukraine when he said this.
Since the West insists that there is no other basis for resolving the Ukrainian situation except for the notorious Zelensky peace formula, and at the same time Zelensky's team threatens, after liberating, as they put it, the Crimea and the eastern regions of Ukraine, to start killing every Russian and destroy everything Russian there, the conclusion is very simple. The West directly supports the genocide.
I will definitely agree with him. Because guys, there is many ways of finding peace. There is many ways of bringing peace in this country and stop all these conflicts once for all. Instead, all we are seeing so far, it is some people trying to entertain whatsoever is happening there. And they are trying to play victims. All because they are trying to protect their own interest. I'm not the one who's saying it. There is someone, an American, we're talking about the former President Donald Trump, who came out to reveal some of the secrets on what the administration of Biden is doing. He's accusing Joe Biden, saying that he's spending a lot of money in this so-called NATO meeting that they get to supply Ukraine with weapons. President Donald Trump was asked this question about what he thinks of this war in Ukraine. And it was very clear to accuse Joe Biden, saying that he spent a lot of money trying to impress NATO countries. Yet these NATO countries, they are not putting enough money on the table.
The current administration has made it clear that we should continue to provide military equipment to Ukraine so that they can defend themselves. Do you support this decision, and how would you deal with the increasing threat posed by Vladimir Putin?
First of all, thank you very much. It's really nice. And it's an important question, so important, because we're giving away so much equipment. We don't have ammunition for ourselves right now. We don't have ammunition for ourselves. We're giving away so much. But here's the thing. I have to say it to start off. No longer matters. If I were president, this would have never happened. And even the Democrats admit that. Putin knew it would have never happened. And his pipeline would have never happened. A lot of things would have never happened. But this would never have happened. And all those dead people, both Russian and Ukrainian, they wouldn't be dead today. And all those cities that are blown up and disintegrated right to the ground, that wouldn't have happened. Okay, now, here's the problem. We've given so far $171 billion. They've given, meaning European Union, which is approximately the same size altogether as our economy. They've given about 20. So we're at 170, let's say, and they're at 20. You don't have to know too much about history to realize, or geography, to realize that they're a little bit more affected than we are, okay? So they've got to put up a lot more money because they're taking advantage of us like every other country.
Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying, Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win.
You know what I'll say? I'll say this. I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and they should be. And they should equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO. When I sat down, I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars that they weren't paying under Obama and Bush and all of these other presidents. That's why they're able to help them fight the war, because of the money I got. But I want Europe
what's happening in Ukraine,
excuse me,
Mr.
I want Europe to put up more money because they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of jerks. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land, and they're in for 20. I don't think so.
Now you understand why I say that these people, they have their own interest. And it is for that reason why they will never gonna let go Ukraine to go in and negotiate with Russia. They will never gonna let go of Ukraine to have that peace they used to have before, because they have spent a lot of money already. We're talking about more than 170 billion US dollar that the US have spent already in this war. When the Europe or the NATO countries, they only spend more than 24,000 billion US dollar. And according to Donald Trump, he feel like this was too little money compared to what the Americans they have spent, because this money is supposed to be from the taxpayers. So we're talking about billions of money, which America already put on the table. Now, how do you expect this kind of people to go ahead and allow peace to reign in Ukraine when they already spend this much of money? No, they spend this money because they have their reasons. And as long as they have not achieved their mission, they're never going to let peace to reign. They're never going to let peace to reign regardless of what you guys can do, regardless of the intention. Look, okay, let me give you a very simple example. According to what we just discussed so far in this video, Putin says this: NATO should stop financing or supporting or supplying weapons to Ukraine immediately. Once they stop that, Putin will stop the war. But at the same time, Putin will still gonna remain in the possession of the land that they already took from Ukraine. And then they'll start negotiating. After they finish with their negotiation, Putin, with his government, they will maybe decide and say that, okay, we are withdrawing from Ukraine, we are going back to Russia. And the Ukraine will go back as long as there's that peace agreement. That is from Russia's side. And this is something that, as for Ukraine, since there are people who are involved in all this, since they seem to be victims from all this, they're supposed to grab it and accept, because they can't fight Russia. They can't beat Russia. If they're trying to resist a little bit so far, it is all thanks because of NATO countries and all the effort and energy that they've been supplying to the Ukraine government. But otherwise, I don't see on my own, I don't see that how Ukraine could resist Russia even for 2 or 3 months. So this was something that it was a very good proposal that people of Ukraine could have accepted immediately and stop all these things. Why they're not accepting it? Because they have crapped their president. They're now telling their president what to do and what not to do. Now that the US has already spent this kind of money, and we all know if these things get where it is today, it's because NATO wanted to take over Ukraine. They want Ukraine to be part of NATO countries, so that they'll put the military base over there, and they'll be able to control Russia. And Russia don't want that, because Russia, it is an independent country. Russia is one of the most powerful countries in the world, and they don't want that. And they had given even an example saying that how will the United States of America feel if they have to go and take one of his neighboring countries, whether it's Colombia or Mexico, and maybe BRICS goes over there and take it. How will them feel it? Because talking about BRICS, Mexico, they are also planning to join BRICS. As we're talking right now, the United States of America, they already start giving Mexico hard time for them to not join BRICS, because they know if Mexico have to join BRICS, United States, it will be over for them, because it will destroy their economy. It will bring also a serious instability, because remember, in America there is a lot of Mexican over there. So once these people that are part of BRICS, and United States is not part of BRICS, United States is part of NATO, G20, G7, they are kind of like enemies. So this was gonna go and destroy them, and they were not gonna. It was not gonna sit good for them. So they were not gonna allow another country to come and put their military base next to them, whether it is in Cuba or maybe in Mexico. But the things that they don't want someone to do for them, these are the things they want to do for other people, and that's the reason why they are trying by all means to bring some instability in Russia. And they can do this only if they can surround Russia with their military base, so that they'll be able to control Russia from closer. These people, they're never gonna let peace take over. Guys, another proof why I'm saying all this. Last week in our previous video, we told you that there will be a committee which was chosen by the African Union, because they had to decide, they had to come up with an idea. They end up realizing that, no, look, we've been sustaining for so long in the United Nations cancelling votes about this Ukraine and Russia conflict. Every time they said, let us vote, you'll see NATO country, they'll vote in favor of Ukraine. Most of the votes, you find out that no, we keep on voting, preferring to remain neutral in all this. So the African Union decided to send some leaders, so that they'll go and get to hear from both sides, so that they get to listen to Russia, they get to listen to Ukraine, and then they'll come and give this report to the African Union, so that African leaders, as the representative of African's continent, they'll have now to decide whether they'll continue to abstain from all this, or whether they'll start voting in favor of Russia, or whether they'll vote in favor of Ukraine. And these African leaders who went over there, it was represented by the president of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, of course, with the president of African Union, president of Senegal, Macky Sall was also in. We note also the president of Republic of Congo, President Tshisekedi. We note the presence of president of Zambia, I forgot his name, and a couple of presidents who I saw there. But here's something that happened. Something did indeed happen. So we need to acknowledge that. President Cyril Ramaphosa is a member of the BRICS countries. He represents South Africa. Remember, because of his loyalty and his faithful to the Russia, it had started already causing people of South Africa, whereby you get to see the master, US as always, they already start threatening South Africa with serious sanctions, as they always do. around the world. They already even start telling South Africa that you need to position yourself, you need to do this, you need to do that. These are the same people who even went on publicly accusing South Africa that we are selling guns to the Russia Federation without having proof. So, President Ramaphosa, as he was going to Ukraine, he stopped in Poland. Poland, they are neighboring with the Ukraine. They had welcomed about 3 million refugees who were running from Ukraine. They went over there. Poland is member of NATO countries. Try to understand me very well. I said Ramaphosa is a member of BRICS. Poland is member of NATO countries. As we all know that when a president travel, it usually costs them up to 1.2 million US dollar. That is the amount of money that a president can spend each and every time they fly, because a president don't just fly alone, don't go around alone. He goes with a very big delegations. He have people in his team, secret service, people who are there for his securities. There are people who goes even to the place where you'll be going 2 weeks before he arrive. Then they have to be on the field to check everything, the hotel, who's going to be cooking for him, how is it going to be, they'll have to plan everything. And these are very, very costly for each and every government, not only South Africa, every government around the world. And it's even more worse when it comes to presidents such as Joe Biden. Because remember, for an example, when Joe Biden went to attend the funeral of Queen Elizabeth, he came with his his vehicles, all of them inside the aeroplane. Can you imagine how much was that gonna cost? That is excluding his security teams and his members that he usually travel with. So, to make this short, guys, when a president travels from one country to another country, it is very costly. And President Ramaphosa, since it was planned already, his team supposed to be on the field before him arrive. Guess what happened? When his security team, his security personnel, they arrived in Poland with everything that they had, they were blocked there. For 2 days, they blocked them. They could not let them go because they were having a cargo. And according to them, since they already shared that image out, they're saying that because South Africa refused to line up with the US and the NATO country in order for them to condemn Russia, and decided to remain loyal and faithful to Russia, which means South Africa is not to be trusted anymore. Whatever they are carrying in their cargoes or aeroplanes need to be identified. Otherwise, they might be carrying some weapon over there so that they'll go and support or supply it to Russia. That was a very strong message in the world of diplomacy that politicians can send to one another. And it was another way of disrespecting the head of the state. That was a very big embarrassment, that they had to block the security personnel of President Ramaphosa in Poland for 2 days. They are asking them questions. They have to describe, because remember, once you are having a diplomacy passport, whatsoever you are carrying in your bag, you are not allowed to discuss it with anyone. You are not allowed to, no one is allowed even to come and ask you what is inside there, as long as you show them the diplomacy passport. That is how you get to see in Africa or even around the world, drugs get to move from one state to another state, because they will give it to a politicians. They will give it to someone who have the capacity of holding that diplomacy passport. Once they arrive into the airport with those drugs, they just need to show that passport and say that, okay, this is a diplomacy traveling, so you don't need to ask me too much question. And you let them in just to find out that inside there, they were carrying drugs for drug dealers. And As for the president, they are not allowed, his security personnel, they are not allowed to discuss what they were holding inside that cargo. Because if they have to discuss it with the security service of Poland, which means they are exposing the president, which means everyone will be able to attend and maybe kill the president. So they refused. They were like, okay, no, if you guys want to block us in your country, you can block us, but we're not going to discuss with you what we're having here, because this is a personal security of a president, and we're not going to discuss it with you. So it was all about all media talking about it, everyone talking about it, but later on they end up releasing them. So why am I telling you even all this, guys? I'm telling you all this just to make you guys understand that the battle here, it is between NATO and the BRICS countries. They see, because remember in this delegation that African leaders went over there, it was not only South Africa. I said that the president of Senegal was there, the president of Zambia was also there, but they had to go and let all these security personnel of this president, they let them go. The one of President Ramaphosa, they stop him, all because he's a partner to the Russia government. They blocked them. This is another message that they're trying to send out there. Imagine if this security personnel if it was the one of Joe Biden or the president of France, Emmanuel Macron. Imagine if this security personnel was for them. Do you think there was going to be anyone who was going to stop these people? No. They had to do this because they want to shake South Africa. And they thought maybe South Africa was one of those lazy African countries. But just to find out that no, we are also well prepared, well determined to stand up and to stand on our feet and try to defend ourselves. Guys, there is no willing in all this. There is no way that this war is going to finish right now. The negotiations, the peace negotiation that African leaders are trying to bring over there. If you have to ask me, I will tell you honestly speaking that I don't see anything new, and I don't see anything good that will come out from there. Because we already know the intention of people who are engaging in this war. We all know this war, what is it all about? We know. I told you that, and I've been telling you for some times now that this war is not all about Ukraine anymore. This is about NATO versus Russia. I demonstrated here, guys. I said NATO want to have some countries which are neighboring with Russia, so that they'll go and plant their military base over there, and they'll be able to start controlling Russia. And once they do that, it will be a way of trying to reduce the power of Russia to the level of them becoming the most powerful country in the world. So they are trying to do that, and that is the mission of the US with its alliance. That is the same thing they are trying to apply in Taiwan, whereby there's a small conflict between Taiwan and China. But just because they know that China is also very powerful. So if we leave China becoming very powerful, we leave Russia becoming very powerful, we're not going to succeed. So we need to bring some instability. And in order for us to bring instability, we can't do it from when we're sitting in the US. We need to do it next to them. That's why you see them jumping in Ukraine, and now they're jumping into Taiwan. So that China will also get a chance to engage themselves in some conflict with Taiwan. At the same time, Russia dealing with Ukraine. So there is no any effort so far which is showing that there will be a good solution from all this meeting that the African leaders they are going. And you know what's surprising me the most is that sometimes, guys, I don't know. That's the reason why I always tell people, don't do politics, guys. Don't do politics. Politics, geopolitics is for mafias. You know, I don't even understand sometimes whereby I had to ask myself this question. Why do Africans even have to go all the way over there? Eh? Because we have our own conflicts in Africa. We have war in Africa. Check what is happening in Sudan there. In Sudan, people are dying every day over there. Innocent people. Including even some of African brothers in Sudan. They are being killed there. Because of the conflict between Sudanese. One general saying that, no, I'm the one who's having the control of the country. Another one is like, no, I'm the one who's having it. Now they want to fight. If there are places that you need to go and negotiate, if there are places that you want to go and bring peace, these are the places you should start for, isn't it? What about what is happening in the DRC, between DRC and Rwanda? Whereby Rwanda is sending people, rebels over there, killing people, doing crazy things. Those are the things that you need to go and start dealing with. Okay, fine, we don't have a problem. You decided to go to Ukraine and Russia. Okay, fine. But ask yourself a question. In all the conflict that we've been having in Africa, how many times have you seen Europeans, NATO countries coming to Africa to bring a serious a peace, that to ask everyone to bring a real peace? How many times? And if there's any many times that they have done so, how many times they have them also succeed? If it's not them coming here to pretend like, no, we are here to help you fight the terror attacks, no, we are here to help you fight the poverty, but at the same time they're busy stealing African minerals. They are busy stealing our gold, our diamond, our petrol. They are stealing all these things from us. These are the things that we should be asking ourselves. How many times have them come and do something good for Africans? So for me, I mean, well, it's just that we are not all politicians, but if it was up to me, just close the door for all these people. Let them deal among themselves. Let us focus on our own business and make Africa great. Make Africa a better place. See how our brothers and sisters are dying in the oceans, all because they are trying to enter the Europe countries. And they are dying there. Before in here, 2011, 2013, once they are crossing those oceans like that, there were even some organizations who will come with a big board to welcome all these people and let them inside Europe. What they are doing right now, they will see you guys singing on the oceans and they run away. They run away, they kill you, like they prefer you guys to die over there. All because of your skin color. Now here we are, instead of us trying to focus on ourselves and try to see on how we can build our nations and become also strong like those countries, we go there. We shall wait and see. But mark my day, my point here, I mean to say, nothing good is going to come from that meeting. Maybe the good intention will come from the Russia government because they already say what they want. Maybe some also will come also from Ukraine. But by now, I believe that president of Ukraine, they already police here. They already tell him that, hey, go there, listen to them, but don't do anything without listening to us first. Don't decide of anything before you talking to us first. So they are the one who have to decide and tell you what to do. I can bet with my life on this one. I don't see Ukraine going back to the same way it used to be before. Because right now, well guys, thank you so much. It was very important that we get to discuss this topic. It was very important that we get to remind Africans again that we have to do what is best for Africa and not for other people. And it was very important to let you know that whatsoever is happening in Ukraine, every part they are planning, they are claiming that they are the winners. Those who want to negotiate, they are not being given a chance to negotiate. All because there are some people who want to protect their own interest, and Donald Trump had proven to that. So we shall wait and see what will happen in the near future. As for us, we are here, we discuss different topic about what is happening in Africa continent. Thank you so much. Don't leave without giving us your thumbs up. We really do appreciate. Subscribe to the channel if this is your first time to watch our videos, because on this channel we do educate, we do engage ourselves in deep conversation as Africans and get to come up with a good idea of what this Africa we want it to be tomorrow. So if you don't want to miss any of our videos, you just have to subscribe to our channel, follow us on our social media, whether it is on Facebook, TikTok or Twitter, everywhere. We are all over there. We will really do appreciate that. From me to you, I'll see you again very soon. But for now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.